Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the woods of Idaho. This is Jeremy from TTAG, thetruthaboutguns.com here. And today we're checking out the LUCID L5 scope. I have had this since SHOT Show, since January of this year. It is now May. I've been using it a lot as I needed a good scope for testing out rifles, for testing out accuracy. I have I'm not really a precision rifle shooter in general, so I didn't own a nice optic. The scope that I had, it was functional for me for having fun. I did plenty of 100-yard shooting just for fun, but I wasn't able to actually tune out the parallax entirely on it, so that was a limiting factor for actually testing the mechanical accuracy of a rifle. The little movement in the reticle, I couldn't get rid of that, and I needed an optic that was capable of actually testing the mechanical accuracy of a rifle. But I don't have $2,000 to spend. I have shot super nice optics, Swarovski, Night Force. I've shot through some nice scopes. I decided after doing a bunch of research and looking at a few things to go with this L5, and I'm glad that I did. It's been great for me so far. On paper, the L5 is a 50mm scope with a 30mm diameter tube. It has a 6 to 24x zoom, adjustable diopter back here for focus for your prescription basically, and a side adjustable parallax anywhere from 15 yards to infinity, which is great. It has locking re-zeroable turrets, so once you get your rifle zeroed in, you can pop these loose, turn them to where the zero is actually showing on the dots, and reinstall them. That way you can easily adjust from there. It does come with lens covers. It does not come with a mount. MSRP, full MSRP is $449. That's not cheap, but compared to other optics in its sort of quality and stats range, it's a very good deal. It's also waterproof. Yes, it's submergible. It's nitrogen purged. Light transmission is 92%. That's not premium, but it's solid. Maximum adjustment range is 50 MOA, vertical and horizontal. Again, that's not like a premium stat. It's not as much adjustment as you'd get out of a 30mm tube from a company like Night Force or from like a Bushnell Elite or something, but it is at least competitive with your other scopes in this price range like Nikon and Bushnell and Burris and such. Now 24x zoom is huge. That's like a freaking telescope. That is acceptable, sufficient for extremely long range shooting, 1,000 yards and well beyond that. Now 50 MOA adjustment might not be sufficient. So if you are putting this on a rifle like a 338 Lapua Magnum, which it is rated for, and you're shooting at ranges like that, you would want to use a scope base or a rifle with a rail that has an MOA cant built into it, most likely. Now, as mentioned, I've been using the L5 for months, and I really like it a lot. The adjustment for zoom is very smooth and solid. It feels good. Everything about the scope looks and feels good. It is a little heavy at 24-ish ounces, but most scopes in this size range weigh that much, some weigh more. And again, my purpose for it was using it for getting accuracy groups, testing rifles at 100 or more yards, and it has been absolutely great for that. There's a pretty good fudge factor and eye relief, so I haven't had a problem swapping it from rifle to rifle and having to tinker around for a long time figuring out exactly where my eye is going to be away from the eyepiece there. I also chose a mount that's quick detaches Burris, the PEPR mount. It's a little bit heavy as well, but it's high enough that it works on multiple rifles without having to worry about clearance. It's solid and it's easy for me to take off and put on something else. This scope has been very easy to sight in. I've had it on, I think, 4 or 5 rifles so far. Hasn't taken very long to get it sighted in. The clicks are 1/8 MOA, which is pretty small. I'd settle for a quarter, no problem. It would make sighting it in faster, if maybe less precise. But the clicks are positive. You can feel that clack, 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 and that is actually something I'm going to test today. The detents, not only the precision of how well these can be adjusted, but how well the scope holds zero under firing. I have a target set up at 100 yards. This is basically sighted in with 223. and I'm going to do what's called a box drill. 3-shot groups. I'm going to start right in the middle on the bullseye, and then I'm going to adjust the turrets to make a box. Walk it up and right, down, left, up, and then back to the bullseye. I'm going to do approximately 5 inches of measurement, approximately 5 MOA, so that's 40 clicks. I'm going to go 5 right, 5 up to do that first group, and then 10 down, 10 left, 10 up, and 5 right, 5 down to get back to the middle. And the test basically is to see how closely it gets back to the middle where it started. So let's load them up, see how the L5 does. Okay, we're all set up. Ammo today, Liberty ammunition, Silverado. It's 55 grain hollow point stuff. And let's do the first 3 shots on the bullseye. Okay, I'm gonna run down there. I'm gonna mark those first 3 shots near the bullseye, so when we go around that box and come back later, I know which ones were which. Okay, so it's fair to say we are a little bit off target to the right, but that's okay. None of that matters. We're just gonna go around the box, try to come back to that same point. Basically, I aim at that blue dot in the middle every single time, and all that changes is the actual scope adjustment on the dials. Now, as you can see, these turrets are actually zeroed. When I sighted this in, I was using Federal 556 M193, so that might explain the discrepancy in the point of impact here with this Liberty stuff. Anyway, because you can zero these turrets, and thanks to the markings on them, doing 40 MOA isn't that hard. You pop them up to adjust. You don't have to count 40 clicks. You can actually just go by the numbers on the dial. All right, we are now at 40 clicks up. We're also 40 clicks right, although how the markings work on the horizontal turret, it goes 1, 2, 3, and then 3, 2, 1. So 40 is, that's right where it is, but you have to watch your marks to count that extra 10. All right, there is the final result. As you can see, we ended up back just a little bit left, an inch or so left of where that original first group was. Now, I gotta say, this test might be shit. That original group, it was right of where I thought it was going to be, as I mentioned earlier. You know, I thought it was the difference in ammo, but when I started shooting out here, it was cold. I got out here at 9 a.m. It was 38, 42 something degrees. Now it's a bit warmer. It's up 55, 57. And I don't know, I mean, that affects the bullet speed, that affects the barrel a little. That could be the cause of this, or some of the cause of this, because you can see that first group is right, and then the 40 clicks didn't move these groups very far right from that. Then we had 40, 40. That looks relatively consistent, although that vertical difference has changed. Yeah, I don't know, guys. I mean, overall, it's pretty darn good. It's not perfect, certainly not perfect, but some of this is definitely my fault. Well, guys, thanks as always for joining me. That test, that box test, didn't go quite as well as I had hoped, but like I said, it was freezing when I got out here, and now it's comfortable. That has various effects, and I think that might have affected this target a little bit. Obviously, I would redo it. I don't have the ammo with me to do that. I'm gonna run with this. Overall, because I've been so happy with this optic, used it on a lot of rifles. I've shot 308 through it. The point of impact has never shifted during my shooting session. I believe it to be stout, well built. The optical clarity is pretty good. Once you get up above 18x zoom, it starts to lose a little bit of the light transmission. It gets a little darker, maybe a teeny bit fuzzy for me. That's where you can kind of tell the difference between this and a $3,000 scope. Of course, it's 449 bucks. It's not over $2,000. You do get more with a scope like that. I wouldn't call this a premium scope, but I would call it a very, very good scope, an extremely functional, reliable scope for way less money. There are shooters, significantly better shooters, more serious shooters than me, who are using the L5 with great success. So I'm not afraid to endorse it as a solid choice in its price range for one of the best optics that you can get in its price range. I think the website is mylucidgear.com on your screen, right or wrong, and in the video description below. Also, of course, go to thetruthaboutguns.com, T-tag. There's a link in the video description for the written review on it with some photos and more technical details about the scope. I'm looking forward to continuing using it. I hope it serves me for a long time, and I don't see any reason why it wouldn't. As always, thank you guys very much for joining me out in the woods. Like and subscribe if you would, and I hope to see you next time.